Hallo und herzlich willkommen zurück zu einer neuen Folge von Let's Play Shadowrun Dragonfall. Wir sind noch dabei, mit Glory zu reden. If I didn't know any better, I think you were warming up to me. She studies your face for a moment before responding. I suppose that you might say that. I don't talk to many people, Deadly Angel. It just doesn't seem to be worth the effort. I don't really feel much anymore. Not since... She caresses the chrome of her forearm with a hand made of articulate steel. This. If that's true, why are you still talking to me? I suppose because you've shown an interest and because you haven't let me push you away. She locks her eyes with you. Her expression is blank. I don't want to mislead you, Deadly Angel. I still don't feel anything. Not warmth or friendship or even trust. But I can appreciate the effort you're making. As something new and it's worthy of exploring. Dann können wir so voll die Beziehung mit der anfangen. You said that things went bad when you turned 14. I'd like to keep talking about that. She says that you have face expression of no, I'd rather not. Why not? Because I don't see a reason to. The memories are pleasant and dredging them up doesn't serve any real purpose. You're wrong about that. The last time we talked it had an impact on you. That's reason enough to continue. She pauses a moment to consider your words. A troubled look on her face. Och nein, oh. Immer das Telefon, ey. Kann da bitte wer dran gehen? Ich will's nämlich nicht. So, dankeschön. I suppose that's true. Feeling disconfort is better than feeling nothing at all. Alright, here's the deal, Daddy Angel. I'm going to talk, you listen. When I'm done, I'm done. No complaints and no argument. I will see what happens. Deal? Deal. Right. The 1,000-meter stare creeps back into Glory's eyes. A moment later, she locks away in her own head again, reliving memories that she long since filled away. So a few days after my 14th birthday, I began express, magically. You magically acted? I was. Glory gestured at a cyber arm-riddled body. Not anymore. There's another long pause, and Glory became more animated. Anyway, I turned 14. I awakened. I don't even remember how my parents found out about it anymore. I think that my dad caught me playing with a tiny city spirit that I coaxed out of a pile of garbage, something like that. With everything that happens afterwards, those days are kind of blur. What I do remember is my father's response to the revelation that this little girl was a witch, a hexe. He beat the living shit out of me with his fists, and then he spelled, and then a claw hammer that he grabbed out of his toolbox. All the while my mother was screaming and flailing at him. She took a couple of licks with the hammer too. What about your neighbors? Didn't anyone call the Polizei or prosecutors? Oh sure they did. Our neighbors were perfectly decent people. Even if they couldn't admit it to themselves, they knew what my father was up to. When they heard a woman and a little girl screaming bloody murder, they were the first to pick up the comm. Unfortunately, police response time can leave a little something to be desired. I assumed that they showed up eventually, but I never know. I was out of there well before anyone showed up to intervene. But we'll get to that in a second. So finally, after what felt like an hour, Dad stopped turning me up with a hammer. I had broken ribs, a busted arm, I couldn't see out of my left eye. My entire right side was covered with one giant bruise. I was bleeding all over the place, making a real mess of the carpet. The old bastard spat on me, his bleeding, crying daughter. He spat on me and told me that I was des Teufels Hure, the devil's whore. Then he kicked me out of the house. As I was crawling away, my father told me that if he or any of his Kreuzbazars brothers ever saw me again, they'd treat me as the Berlin chapter treats the enemies of God. If you're not familiar with how the Kreuzritters here in Berlin deal with heretics, this is slightly less pretty than what my dad and his buddies did to their victims. I got the hint and the next morning I hitched a ride for Stuttgart. Guess the move, you were a smart kid. Not that smart, slowly, sadly, Glory shakes her head, but we'll get to that in a minute. I wound up in Tübingen. I figured it'd be safe enough place to find medical attention and maybe to call home. It's not far from Stuttgart, but it's a huge student community that I figured I could blend into, and a university that there's a decent magic department. My ride dropped me off at the university hospital and they patched me up pretty good. Had some questions for me about how I got so beaten up, but I lied and told them that I'd been mugged, which played nicely into my complete lack of cash, credit, and identification. Glory pauses for a moment and looks down at the floor, then fixes her eyes on you. She is visibly tense. We're gonna fast forward through the next few years. I was a kid on the street. I got by best I could doing whatever I had to. The rest we can leave up to your imagination, good? You did what you had to do. I'm no stranger to that myself. I don't think that anyone working in the shadow is. She nodded. I figured you understand. So anyway, I lived on the streets for a few years. Got used to being hungry all the time. Got used to getting rained on. Got by. I was painfully aware that I had magical talents, but without any kind of training or guidance. I didn't really know how to use or develop them. Truth be told, they scared me, so I more or less ignored them. So it just sort of went like that, until a few days after my 70th birthday, then I met Martha and everything changed. Martha was a sweet girl. At first looked her for a street kid, like me. Her clothes were a little ratty and she seemed comfortable being near me. But she also looked well fed and happy, and those were two things I hadn't seen in years. We started hanging out, and before I knew what was happening, I was in love. There was a genuine attraction between Martha and me, I think. Irgendwie habe ich das geahnt, dass bei ihr so eine Liebesgeschichte mit einem Mädel kommt. Ich weiß nicht, ich habe sie irgendwie so... Klingt voll oberflächlich, aber das ist ja nichts Schlimmes, aber ich habe das irgendwie erwartet bei ihr. But I also think that a lot of my affection for her came from the fact that she was the first person in years to give a damn about me. She cared and I loved her for that. Glory pauses. She looks frustrated. Her composure cracked. Keep going, Glory. She stares at you for a beat, then nods. A few ragged breaths later, she continues. Martha told me about a place where she had been hanging out. She invited me to join her there. It was called Feuerstelle, the fireplace, and it was sort of a commune for disposed youths. It turns out that a lot of the street kids I know over the years had moved there. The way that they disappeared, I assumed that they'd been kidnapped or killed, or had gone back to their parents, but there they were. I remember being kind of angry about it. Like, how did everybody get the memo about this but me? Mother calmed me down. She was good at helping me work through my feelings, and I wound up following her to Feuerstelle. To a street kid, it was basically paradise. The owner, a guy named Harrow, had set up this little farm just outside Tübingen in the Schönbusch forest. The Schönbusch is officially a nature park, but not many people got there nowadays, too much fear of paranormal animals, I guess. Anyway, park or not, it was plenty big enough for us to hide in. It was also safe and pretty, and the farm was well stocked with food. Most importantly, Feuerstelle gave us a sense of community and stability that we never had on the street, and we loved Harrow for that. He became like a surrogate father to us. Glory pauses again, and you recognize the distinctive flush in her cheek. She seems to have come out of her once again. That's enough for now. I need to process all of this, and I don't want to continue forward until I've had the chance to do that. I know this has all happened years ago, but I guess it's still pretty raw to me, so I'm gonna ask you to give me some space for a while. She turns away and the frost begins to creep back into her voice. We can pick it up later. Okay. Oh, mich ärgert das so hart mit Dietrich. Könnt ihr euch gar nicht vorstellen. Watch DVD. Load the third DVD. A soft wiring sound fills the air as the ancient DVD player spins the disc up to speed. The scratch LCD display comes to life and a menu fills the screen. Play track 1. The display goes blank for a moment, then the face of Green Winter swings onto the screen. The time set on the video reads 2042 85. So I was thinking about Adrian today, not as he was when he disappeared, not as your favorite Dragon Slayer or the big time CEO of Deal Defense. I was thinking about when we were kids. Well, I was always more of a kid than he was, of course. He's 15 years older than me. In a way, he was more like a parent than a brother. Winter pauses. His gaze drops to an invisible point on the table in front of him. So I was thinking about this time when we were on holiday. Our parents took us out the island of Pearl to enjoy the beach. I must have been about 5 years old. Adrian was 20. It'd be his last familiar vacation with us. A year later, he begins his meteoric rise to fame and fortune. But on this trip, he was my brother, and when I fell out of the little paddle boat that our parents rented and started sinking fast into the Baltic, he was the one who dove in to rescue me. You saved my life that day, Adrian. I love you forever for that, and I will find you. I owe you that much. The plane track 2. 2049 66. Found an old news article that mentions Adrian from way back in 2036, meine Güte. It was printed in a financial magazine called Das Finanzwesen, one of those chick printed base mags that they produce for the retro crowd. There aren't any clues in here, but it's good to see someone else acknowledge its existence. He clicks an off-screen button and the image of the winter disappears. It's replaced by a digital scan of a magazine page. SK's dog suffers in post-biot brain drain. Was? Keine Ahnung. November 12, 2039. In the aftermath of the Dragonfall hostile takeover of Sedia Schwerindustriegesellschaft (SKI), a continuing brain drain of high-level executives is causing ongoing worry among the company shareholders. The company's stock took a major hit when Lofur deposed former CEO Wilhelmina Graf Benoit last August. 3 months later, long-held power positions within the SKI empire continued to empty as the Dragon consolidated his power base. The most recent casualties of Lofur's takeover include Alexandra Kobayashi, former COO of Sedio Munitions, Matthias Dorner, former treasurer of Ruhr Datafax, and Werner Harding, former CEO of Deal Defense. Harding stepped into the role to replace Dr. Adrian Vauclair, who disappeared under mysterious circumstances 2 years ago. Winter's face winks back onto the screen. So there you have it. That's what they had to say about Adrian, a mere 2 years after his disappearance. My brother. The footnote. Track C. While this track does load, it's clearly corrupted. The screen fills with meaningless stream of text. Corrupted file. Play track 4. Auch wieder eine korrupte File. A rattling sound fills the air as the disc grinds in its tray. A few seconds later, the screen fills with text. Dr. Vauclair. It is my sad duty to inform you that by unanimous vote of the Aufsichtsrat, your position as the CEO of Deal Defense will be terminated at the end of this calendar month. Your continued misallocations of company funds to pursue personal agendas cannot and will not be tolerated any longer. The supervisory board is not unsympathetic to your mental state. The trauma that you endured during your pursuits of the Dragon Feuerschwinger must have been enormous, but your continuing obsession with the dragon, the dead dragon, I might add, has proven a negative influence on this company and an unjustified drain on company resources. The board wishes you all the best in your future endeavors. We have prepared a generous severance package to assist you in this time of transition. If there's anything more that we can do to help you, please don't hesitate to ask. Werner Harding. Check the DVD. Und wir reden mit Paul. Paul. Amsel calls over his shoulder at the sound of your approach. His eyes are glued to his computer display. Deadly Angel, Frau Müller should be on her way, but before you go to the meeting site, I have news. He glances at you and his words trail off. Upon seeing the expression on your face, Amsel's voice becomes grave. It can wait. Tell me what happened. I had some trouble on the U-Bahn. Somebody setting up an ambush. Amsel pauses, then gives a curt nod. Truth be told, I've been expecting that something like this might happen. I'm just glad that you've made it out alive. Hand over the encrypted PDA. One of the attackers dropped this. Amsel takes the PDA from you and examines it. Yes, I should be able to extract some information for this. Give me a moment. He plugs the PDA to his computer and goes to work. A few moments later, he lets out a grunt of dismay. Well, Deadly Angel, I was able to recover a file, but unfortunately, that's all I've ever been able to pull off this thing. All that anyone will, truth be told. It must have been running some kind of contribution software. The instant that it gained access is bricked itself. Amsel disconnected the useless PDA and drops it to the ground, clatters to a rest on the metal floor. What did you manage to pull off it? A com file. This audio is all here, but it looks like we only got the video from one side of the conversation. Let's see what we have. He opens the file and a nightmarishly familiar face appears on the screen. Ach, der Typ. Audrun. Bachmeier. The voice blitz from the Amsel speakers, filling the room. Das ist der Ork, den wir ganz am Anfang bekämpft haben. Also vor dem wir bzw. geflohen sind. Audrun hier. What's your status? Bunch my aim is garbled, but his voice sounds young and eager. Target acquired, sir. You were right. We spotted her on the U-Bahn, just like you said. Probably on her way to the job. As per your instructions, we're gonna try to take her out on her way back. She'll be more valuable the way. Hopefully injured and low on ammo too, but only time will tell. Good man, proceed as instructed. Will do. Cosman is rigging up an ambush spot now. We'll try to make it quick. The orc with a nightmare face nod. Send me a comm when the job is done. Audrun out. The image on the computer screen dies. Amsel turns to face you. Well, our scared friend makes an appearance. Deadly Angel, I suspect that Green Winter's predictions are coming true. I believe that Feuerschwing is behind this. On the Amsel's patient exterior, you can feel the worry that's eating at him. Be on your guard, you and the rest of your team. You made it through this attack relatively unscathed, but next time you might be not so lucky. At least now we have a name to put to the face, Audrun. That's not all we have. As I was saying when you first walked in, I have been productive as well. I was able to uncover some new evidence in your absence, considerably enough that evidence pertains to our scarred friend. You might recall that I said I'd dig into Audrun's skincraft. Well, I did, and that search has finally borne fruit. One of my contracts outside of Berlin handles the paperwork for private hospitals all across Germany. It's a dull, boring job, but it does have its perks. Amsel pulls open a file on his computer. A medical chart opens up on the screen. As it turns out, our scarred friend's skin crafts were performed at a legitimate hospital after all. Some good news for once. What do they say? Schade, dass wir kein Biotech haben. Well, they're rather light on identifying information. Our friend's name is listed as Max Mustermann, the locate equivalent of John Doe. Local equivalent, yeah. But they do cover his injuries in great detail. Audrun's injuries were extensive. He had 2 broken ribs and shattered pelvis, and he had sustained 3rd-degree burns over 60% of his body. Most damaging of all, he was suffering from acute regional poisoning. His body had absorbed over 5,000 millisieverts of ionizing radiation, a lethal dose without treatment. The information dries up this point. We know that he was treated and discharged, but what happened afterward remains a mystery. He pauses for a moment, studying your reaction. Your thoughts? Hold nothing back. I'd like to hear everything that comes to mind. While those burns sound like Dragonfire, but if Firewing burned Audrun, why would he be working for her now? I don't think that Audrun is working for the Firewing. I believe that he is serving her. On Green Winter's 2nd DVD, he mentioned that there is a cult within the SOX that worships the Firewing, the disciples of the Cleaning Fire. I believe that Audrun's belong to this cult. What a difference would that make? In my experience, a Zealot is unlikely to shed his allegiance to his god, even if that loyalty comes at great personal cost. So it is possible that Audrun is a Dragon cultist. This seems to fit with much of the other information that we've uncovered. Did any other red flag jump out at you? Audrun might have spent some time in the SOX. The radiation poisoning didn't happen on its own. Agreed. 5,000 millisieverts is a lot of XPs. Short of basking in the glow of an unshielded reactor, I don't know how he have absorbed that much ionizing radiation without spending time in the SOX. Alright, so Audrun was so heavily irritated, mostly from the time spent in the SOX. What else does it tell you? The hospital couldn't ID Audrun. Either somebody covered his tracks for him, or he was living completely off the grid. Indeed, if Audrun were a denier of the SOX, a glow punk, his lack of identifying information would make sense. Amsel adjusts his glasses. It's a working theory at any rate. So to sum up, Audrun has probably spent time in the SOX. It's possible that he even lived there as a member of Feuerschwinger's Dragon Code, and he's after you. Amsel paused for a moment before continuing. In my mind, all of this reinforces one fact. We need to find Vauclair, and we need to do it fast. Agreed. Good. And that's all more reason to gather Alice's fee as quickly as possible. There is buzzing sound from Paul's wrist. He lifts hand to look at his PDA. Für meinen Timer. And as luck would have, Frau Müller has arrived. Best of luck at meeting, Deadly Angel. Remember, this is urgent. We need that money. I'm on it. Aber wird hier irgendwie hingedragt für Nebenquests. Geh mal wieder raus. Diese Folge war jetzt sehr dialoglastig wieder. Meet with Dr. Escabel. Achso, ja, das haben wir ja auch noch. Back to the streets. Wir reden mal wieder mit ihr hier, mit der Mallet. I need some tech. Drones. Kann mir beide leisten. Dann nehme ich die Steel Links. Und den Sundowner. Confirm. Den equippen wir mal. Mal die Steel Links mit rein. Dann verkaufen wir auch den Robo-Dog. View Stash Items. Da den Robo-Dog. Hier, bitte schön. Dann können wir mal gucken, ob wir noch eine neue Waffe finden. Eine etwas bessere. Weil die schon recht schlecht, die wir haben. Was heißt recht schlecht, die ihren Zweck bis jetzt erfüllt, aber... So, mal weiter runter. SMG, nee. Keine SMG. Shotgun will ich auch nicht. Ich will ein Rifle. Okay. Kann mir aber kein besseres leisten. Hahaha. Weil ich nicht genug Range Combat habe. Schade. Naja, immerhin habe ich jetzt 2 neue gute Drohnen. Dann würde ich sagen, gehen wir mal auf die eine Quest, die wir angenommen haben, mit dem Prototypen. Board Train. Board Train. Achso, you should meet with Frau Müller before leaving Kreuzbazar. Okay, dann tun wir das nicht. Ich würde aber sagen, dann machen wir hier mal einen Cut und ich sage tschüss, bis zum nächsten Mal, wenn es wieder als Let's Play Shadowrun Dragonfall und bis dahin, macht's gut.